So it's been years since I've worked on this, but I'm gonna start again. We are working on a mini RC car type thing, so I can learn about motors and controls and all that. Last time, we ordered the electrical components we're going to need and made a design for a 3D printed body. Unfortunately, the 3D printed body isn't going to work out. It turns out that I can't actually fit the motor into the slot I made for it. So I'm going to need to update that and print a new one. Before doing that, I want to test out the rest of the parts. With some help from the internet, I was able to hook everything together and get the motors to actuate using the joystick. I'm always impressed when I can take totally different electrical parts and just kind of hook them all together and they all talk to each other correctly and do what they're supposed to do. But now that I see that this all runs, I will update the CAD, print a new body out, and see if I can turn it all into a car. Okay, so everything is all connected into one piece now, which is great, but the controls don't work how I want them to. I'm trying to do tank drive, so one stick controls one motor and the other stick controls the other, but instead it's a weird, both sticks control both motors, but one motor only goes forwards, and the other one, whenever I stop it, it keeps going for a few seconds. So I don't know what's going on there. I will look into that. Okay, after several months and a lot of emails with Nathan from tech support, thank you, Nathan, I figured out that the reason it doesn't work is because it's broken. There's a hardware issue somewhere in there with the main controller. But we figured out that if I switch the PWM settings from inductive mode to resistive mode, it's a workaround for that hardware issue. As for the joystick thing, I was just using the wrong channels. So with all that worked out, it's time to give it a test. Well, despite having wheels made of duct tape and a front end that scrapes against the ground the whole time, I would say this thing maneuvers pretty well. I think this is a completed mini homemade RC car, which was the first step in this project. So now the question is, what comes next? I see two options. Either I go straight for a ant weight or similar combat robot, or I build another one of these RC car type things, but make it really nice. Make the wheels more structural, make it drive much better, make all the electronics organized, stuff like that. Going from what I have now to a full combat robot is a large jump, but I think that's the route I want to take. I would rather have a bad combat robot at the end of the next step rather than a nice RC car. Also, I'm worried that if I keep iterating on nicer versions of this RC car thing, I will lose interest before I feel like I am ready for the combat robot. So with all that, the next step's going to be a fun one. We get to figure out what kind of combat robot we build, come up with some ideas, narrow things down, and set a path for that. Should be fun.